right, good. All right, guys, so welcome back, class of 2024. So many of you, we feel like we know a little bit, but don't really know like we would have if you were here all last year. One thing I'm thinking about when I was saying this is like, as I was going through the summer, thinking about the school year, I was like, yo, we got this. We got this. We can do it. This is going to be new. This is going to be a challenge. But I was thinking 2024, we got this for sure. Like, we got this, and we are going to move through this and get through 10th grade and get our plans ready and get ready to go for the rest of our lives, okay? That's kind of where I'm at. That's my mentality with it, is I don't want to look at barriers. I don't want to look at things. I want to overcome them. And I want you guys to hop in there and join us as we do that, right? That's what we're all about at Upper Darby. That's what life's all about, is finding those barriers and going through them. So I want you to think that we got this. We work together. We can do anything, okay? I'd like to just give some intros to some people that aren't here, but that you might see or might be interacting with throughout the school that are some important people. Principal Simone is the principal here. If you guys anybody went to Beverly Hills, she may have been there, I believe, maybe your 6th grade year, or maybe she left right before you got there. Miss Sytek is the 9th grade assistant principal. That center's located on the 1st floor. That's that one that you walk by. If you come in that main entrance by like either the main entrance or the bus, where the bus drops you off, that's Miss Sytek Center. That's 9th grade this year. Our center is obviously the 10th grade. Mr. Bennett's the 11th grade center. He's up on the 2nd floor, all right? He's the guy that looks like John Cena, the big guy. That's Mr. Bennett. Mr. Hensel is the 12th grade assistant principal, and you guys are kind of new to the building, so you might not even understand the flow. But over on the 1st floor in D wing, which is where like the 120 rooms are, he's located over there. Mrs. Palladino, she's known as the Schoology lady, right? The one that's always posting all this stuff to Schoology about clubs and things like that. She's in charge of our climate and culture, PBIS, and really trying to get people involved. And Mr. Finch, some of you have probably received some emails from him over the past year in regards to schedule changes and things like that. He oversees all our scheduling, testing, and a lot of those steps, okay? So I just thought it was important for you guys to be able to see their faces in case they are ever working with you or you needed to know who they were. All right, I'm going to bring up our center team here. Our center is located mainly in the front. Can you guys come up for a sec? Is that cool? Our center is located, anybody know where it's at, hopefully? 3rd floor, right? We're located up on the 3rd floor. Our center is amazing. We are lucky to have who we have in our center. Right now, we're one person short in that center, and that's the counselor for the students A to G. Okay, Miss Morris went to the senior center. We've hired a new person. We're just waiting for the final process to go through for her to start. Her name will be Miss Hall. When that information comes out, she'll probably send a communication out to you guys, just welcoming, saying who she is, and letting you kind of know what she can help you with. I'm going to give them a minute. I'm going to just have each one introduce themselves in a second, if you guys don't mind. But we're located on the 3rd floor. The hours say 7:30 to 3:01. And you're like, wait, but Mr. Remy, I thought school didn't start till 9:45, right? We're still here. The teachers and the center is still here to support you throughout the whole day. So technically, even though you're not in the building until 9:45, we're still here. There are some mornings where we do have some meetings and things like that, but we are available to try to help you the best we can during that time frame. I'm going to kind of pass the mic off to each person, have them introduce themselves, just so you can kind of put a name with the face.
Hi, I'm Miss Tracy, and I'm the secretary. So anything that you need, just stop in, and I can try to help you.
I'm Mrs. Sullenberger, the counselor for H to O.
Hi, I'm Ms. Perez, and I'm the counselor for P through Z.
I'm Miss Morton. I'm the social worker for the 10th grade.
My name's Miss Catlett. I'm the sub for the alpha that they're going to fill in that Mr. Remy discussed. But I'm also the college and career counselor in the building. So I'm located in room 255, and you can come by, stop by, email Schoology, message me if there's questions about college and or rep visits or anything related to your career path. We can talk online, virtually, and you can make an appointment. We'll check it out. But I'm also subbing and I've met some of you, but you guys are more than welcome to drop by and say hi. I can be in the center tomorrow and Wednesday to help with scheduling issues, and hopefully I'll meet some of you then.
Mr. Udovich, I'm the lead teacher of the 10th grade class.
So guys, that's our center team. Ms. Catlett, like she said, is filling in for Ms. Mars, but also she does oversee the College and Career Center. So she's a great resource as well. So if you need to access the center, there's multiple ways. I think after communicating with a bunch of you over the past couple of weeks or month or so, we all are getting very good with email, right? So email is a great way. If you need something, send your counselor, send myself, Miss Tracy, whoever it is. The worst thing that you can do, or the best thing you can do, is just send an email, and if it's not to the right person, we can get it to the right person. So you can send that through email, a Schoology message, and then there's also going to be slips in the center if you happen to be here at like 9:30 and you had a question you wanted to pop in and maybe your counselor couldn't help you. There'll be a little slip that you can put in their mailbox to say, hey, can you call me down? I have a question about my schedule or whatever that is. All right? They will reach back out to you and try to get a hold of you. And sometimes it might be virtually, sometimes it might be in person, sometimes it might be responding to your email. Please be patient with that. We have about 920 kids in our grade, and each counselor has about 300 students. So be patient with the email. If you email them at 8 o'clock at night, they're not going to get back to you at 9 o'clock at night. So you have to kind of be patient. I know every once in a while we see at 8:15 and then at 9, hey, can you help me still? But just give us some time to get back to you, because we will do the best we can as quickly as we can to get back to you. So just be patient as you do that. We would really appreciate that. We're here to help you really in any way that we can, guys. So if you need something, reach out. Reach out to somebody, and we will get you the help that we're able to provide. Okay? So just don't hesitate to reach out with any question. There's so many things that schools can do to help support you guys. If you need something, reach out, and we can probably get you the help that you need. All right, today's presentation, guys, is going to be accessible to the synchronous students at home. So hopefully those of you that are watching, you're able to see that. All right, so what's new, right? Well, besides not having been here for the past year and a half, all right, on top of that, you guys had a crazy schedule last year because of COVID, and then now that we have a new high school schedule as well. So this is definitely something that's different and a change. We ask that you realize it's new for you, and it's new for teachers, it's new for the entire school. So patience is kind of a key thing here. But we are going to get through it together, and that's what I mean when I'm saying we got this, right? We can get through this, all the new challenges. Hopefully over yesterday and throughout today, you're going to have a better understanding of the ins and outs of how the schedule work, of all the different pieces, okay? That schedule is really built to accommodate you, the students, to make sure that each student has what they need, okay? That lunch and flex period. So that's something that's new, right? We're not in the cafeteria anymore, so yesterday was a little bit tricky. I hope everybody got their lunch that needed a lunch. And that lunch and flex period is kind of like a working lunch, okay? I'm going to, in a minute, put up some slides that show you where the locations are. And one thing we want to just reiterate is it's really important to get your lunch and then go to your class. And hopefully this starts to get a little bit better each day. Yesterday was pretty good, and each day we're just anticipating that lunch and flex time gets better. This year, and you guys don't know much about this because we didn't really have like in-person school that much last year, is we have Royal Points, and what that is, back in the day we used to have something called demerits. Bless you. And that was something where if students were assigned discipline, they might lose certain points, okay, and not be able to attend certain events or participate in certain things, okay? This year it's Royal Points, and what that means is every single student in here, just like in your class, is starting with 100 points. And if certain infractions happen, you would lose those points, and then that would kind of forbid you, or you would not be permitted to attend certain events if that fell below an 85, okay? So what do I mean by that? Things like dances, football games, participation in athletic events, homecoming, events such as that. If you were at a certain threshold, you might not be able to attend those events. We're going to work through that with you guys, but everybody's starting with 100 points. Throughout this, right? We still want to be safe, be responsible, and be respectful all the time at Upper Darby High School, okay? If we do that, you know, we're setting ourselves on a good path, and it makes everybody's lives go a lot more smoothly, and I think you enjoy your time here a lot better. So just think about, like, let's be safe, let's be responsible, and be respectful. Those three things are really kind of some of the ins and outs that we really want to teach beyond the academics. They're things that we want, when you guys go out in the community, we want you to follow through with. This year, there's three learning models that I had discussed, two of them earlier. All right, traditional in-person learning. That's what you're doing right now. There are courses that are outlined in the course selection guide. They're the in-person courses only. Off the top of my head, if you would want to think maybe like a woodshop class, right? It would be hard to work a saw from the computer, so that would be like an in-person class only. So certain classes are outlined as in-person only. So those of you that are at home, you may have some minor tweaks to your schedule if you had selected an in-person class only at that point. Synchronous learning is via the Google Meet. Your teachers, for you synchronous guys, your teachers should have and should be sending you the Meet codes every single morning. You're going to go in just like you did last year, okay? But, and the but is there's one wrinkle, one additional thing to this, okay, is we learned a lot last year, right? And we really want to try to take what we learned and capitalize off of that. So anybody that's a synchronous student, this year they're going to require that your cameras are on, right? So no more, they used to call them Skittles last year. The Skittles are going to kind of be a thing of the past, and the chat feature will be disabled. What does that mean? If you're at home and your teacher says, hey, what's 2 plus 2, and you want to say 4, you can't just type 4 last year. I remember going into virtual classrooms, everybody's like 4, and you'd see like 5,000 things pop up of 4. Now you would actually have to unmute and say 4. So there are a couple of the bigger changes that as you switch to synchronous, you want to keep in mind, because it's going to be a little bit different than last year, okay? Those of you that are students in person, right, unless there's some specific assignment or something very specific that your teacher's doing, you should not be logged into the Google Meet. You should be participating in class like you did pre-COVID, okay? So you should be sitting there and logged into the Google Meet watching class of what's happening in front of you. You should just be watching class like you're watching me right now. Does that make sense? So there's kind of some of the changes. Asynchronous learning, right? These are all words that, like, before COVID, everybody was like, wait, what are these words? Asynchronous learning is one of those, is kind of like the old cyber academy, but we're getting rid of that phrasing there. That means that students aren't required to log into a Google Meet, and they kind of work at their own pace, but they can have check-ins with their teachers throughout the week or as needed, and the work's going to be released like weekly. What does that mean? Is like you can't do all the work on the last day. Each week there's going to be stop gaps for you, okay? If you are in person or synchronous, that happens through the center. So if you were like, hey, I'm synchronous today, I'm watching this on YouTube, but I see all my classmates there and I think I'm going to do better learning in school, that would happen through the center, or vice versa. If you're in person, you're like, you know, I don't feel comfortable, that would happen through the center via an email from your parents to myself. Asynchronous, that's down at central registration. So you would have to do that down at central registration with your parents or guardians, and they would have to register you for the asynchronous learning model, okay? That's a lot of new stuff right there, and I apologize, but we try to get this out as quickly as we can, okay? All right. So communication, guys, is huge. If we communicate with each other, we understand each other better, and we can help each other more, okay? So a couple things I want you to think about, and I kind of refer to this, and people think I'm nuts. I check like my bank account and my credit card statement like every day for some reason, just to make sure that everything's good, right? I don't want my credit card to get hacked. All of a sudden I go to get gas and I can't get gas. I want to make sure all my checks have cleared and everything. So I check that daily. Your guys, in my eyes, your checking accounts and your credit cards are your attendance and your grades. So that's something that you should be checking very, very frequently, okay? You would want to do that through the Home Access Center. your parents are able to set up alerts so they would get an email, like if your grade fell below a certain point, okay? But you should be able to access that and check that on a regular basis to see how you're doing. We don't like to hear like, oh, I didn't know. So always go check to see that your grade is up to date, that you've done what you need to do. And guess what? Every once in a while, we all make a mistake too, right? So sometimes a teacher might mean to type in a 10 and they typed in a 1. So it's always a good thing to go check to make sure that everything is aligned and appropriate. We'll send whole class emails, or I will a lot, from Teacher Access Center. I sent one on Friday. Many of you guys hopefully got that, but that's something, a way that I'll communicate with you and your parents when there's a lot of important information that needs to come out. And next thing is I want you to work on is checking that email address. So you should check your email address every single day, especially at the beginning here, but always every day, at least once a day. You have that time in the morning, that asynchronous time in the morning to be able to check that. Right now, that's where you're going to get all your codes. So tomorrow morning, when you actually go through your schedule, like 1, 2, flex, 3, 4, if you're a synchronous kid, you're going to need to check that email for the codes, okay? A huge piece here is the Schoology Class of 2024 page, okay? That's us. The people that you just had standing up here, that's where we communicate so much information, right? Our counselors do a great job, Ms. Morton, Ms. Catlett, everybody does a great job putting information out there for you, but you have to be able to go and get that. My suggestion, that's going to show up as one of your courses. So some of you might see that, all of you should see that on your schedule saying Class of 2024, and then Mr. Remy's the teacher. But what you might want to do is go in and set up the alerts for that. So you know when somebody posts something. As we get into course selection time, there'll be some things. There's just a lot of important information, a lot of good information that comes out that we don't want you to miss. So if you set up an alert, you can quickly see, all right, that's about DCTS. I know I want to be involved in DCTS. Let me go read that. All right, that's about a football game. I'm not worried about the football game, so I'm not going to go read that one. So set your alerts up. I think most of you guys probably know how to do that on apps, but we can help you too if you need to. Schoology messaging, right? That's similar to like email. Schoology messaging, people, teachers, is another communication tool. Google Meet. So during that morning time, when I put the schedule up here in a minute, your teachers are going to be available to you via Google Meet when you need help. So do you guys remember last year they called them office hours? That's basically what that is. It's like an open invitation for you to go get support as you need it. Okay, so Google Meet's it's going to be done from home, but what we found is that a lot of students found more success doing that one-on-one with the teacher or in smaller groups than maybe in class raising their hand and asking a question. So that Google Meet, your teachers are going to share that with you in the opening days of like when you actually start going to your classes tomorrow, of where you can go to get help, and they'll be logged in there 3 out of the 4 periods. Okay, 3 out of the 4 extensions, I should call them, not periods. They'll be available there, and they'll communicate which one they won't be there. Okay, but that's a great resource. So if you're struggling with something and you come to us, one of the first things we might say is, did you try to go to the block extension time for some support? Okay? All right. And use the time in person to really communicate. I'm of the mindset that, like, if you're in front of somebody, you should utilize that time and make the most out of it. So use that time. I know oftentimes you guys are teenagers, and there's so many things going on in your head. There's so many things going on. But use that time because it goes by. Time is like a precious, that's one of the things that you can't get back, okay? So if you're sitting in a room or you're sitting in an assembly or sitting wherever you are, the really cool thing about the internet that I learned over the past couple years is that if I don't go on Instagram for 20 minutes, when I go in 40 minutes, all the stuff that was there 20 minutes ago is still going to be there. So really kind of realize that. You know what I mean? And that's some sarcasm there. You might not have sensed it. But what I mean is use that time, okay? Everything's still going to be there. So your friend's Snapchat's going to be there, right? What won't be there is that time that you have with your classmates, that time that you have with your teachers, right? And the time that you have to learn. Most of us, at least I know I can speak for myself, if I could go back and redo high school, there's so many things that I would do differently, okay? So you end up looking back and you really lose some opportunities. So make the most of your time because there's so much to distract us, and it's really, really important to spend that time here the best you can. So if you're in person or synchronous, make the most of it, okay? Sometimes it's hard to put the phone away or turn it off, but it does help, okay? I'm going to bring up Ms. Perez and Ms. Sullenberger. They're going to kind of go over some things about the school counselors.
All right, so you guys are ranking up there as one of the most awesome classes in an assembly. Let me just tell you that. So, it is awesome. But guess what? We do have to make some noise sometimes, and I think the one thing about when people say class of 2024, you got to cheer. So let's practice that. Y'all look at me like I'm crazy. I don't care. Ready? Good morning, class of 2024. Okay, we got pep rally where you can win things, and we have to scream. Good morning, class of 2024. All right. I guess I'll take the quiet then. I don't know. Come on. You guys have time to improve, that's for sure. I think what I like best, and I know that I've said to many of my students, I've lost a year not having you guys last year. I was so excited to finally get my students for 4 years in a row. So I still have you for 4 years in a row, which is awesome too. So we're going to make the best of it. You look for your counselor. They have things listed there. We are your support person. We're a key person to come to. If there's something that we can't handle or something's bigger than what we can do, we have team members within our center that we will go to and different supports that we can provide for you and recommendations. We can assist you if you're lost, you need something, you can't find something. I think even like Mr. Remy said, if you ever need to know, hey, I'm having trouble with the class, we can help you figure out ways to communicate with your teacher. We're going to build those relationships. We're going to have the celebrations. We're going to have the dances and all that good stuff come back, hopefully, as we head into a new normal. These are all the times that we like to celebrate with you. When you get that acceptance letter, when you get to go to tech school, all those things we will help you with and celebrate with you. That's what we're here for. When it comes to your schedules, we are working on them still. So things are still changing. When you actually start classes tomorrow to go through your schedule, when you have a hole in your schedule in semester 1, if you're like, wait a minute, second period's not there, what do? You all need to come to the center during that hole in your class, in the block, okay? Don't come first block when the hole is in second block. Come second block, okay? We're going to try to manage things that way. If there is some time this afternoon, I'm going to try to call students down in my part of the alphabet to see if I can work on some schedules, okay? It's the same thing when you get to that flex period. I know there's questions of, hey, I have flex every day but Tuesday. Where do I go? On Tuesday, when you have a hole, come to the center, all right? And like last year, we did course selection. This year, it'll be in person, and we'll be able to come up with plans for everybody. You do have things to look forward to when it comes to applying to the college or the career and technical schools. There's different options out there. Keep your eyes open for information for assemblies in the fall, with more information for that. And we also are continuing to work on your pathways through high school, and that's what we're here for.
All right, guys, so now we're going to just kind of talk a little bit about some important things for the year. Who remembers Act 158? Probably you guys have heard the word. Might cause a little bit of anxiety because if you guys remember, there's a lot involved in Act 158. But don't worry, that's what we're here for. We're here to help you guys with Act 158 by basically tracking whether or not you've met it. So with Act 158, there's actually some changes this year that the state decided to enact. So we're going to eventually get that information out to you guys in terms of what the changes are. The big thing with Act 158 this year that you guys need to know is that this is a keystone year for a lot of you guys. Almost all of you are going to be taking, if not all of you, the English Keystone this year. Most of you guys are going to be taking the Biology Keystone this year. And then, for those of you who are finishing up Algebra 1 or need to take it again, you'll be taking the Algebra 1 Keystone this year. So it's really important and imperative that you guys do well on those Keystones, take them seriously, because that's the easiest way to meet Act 158. And then you don't have to sit with myself, Mrs. Sullenberger, your other counselor, and go over that confusing chart together your junior year. The next thing that we wanted to touch on with you guys is PSATs. The PSATs essentially stand for the practice SATs. That's probably something you guys have all heard before, the SATs. It's essentially like a college entrance exam. So we offer those for free to you guys, and they're going to be on October 13th. A lot of colleges are going test optional for the next 2 years. By the time you guys get there, there might still be some colleges that are test optional, but we're not really sure yet what colleges are going to do. So it's so important that you guys take those exams as seriously as possible, especially because eventually, later on, we're going to get onto how you can link the College Board account with Khan Academy and actually get some personalized practice for the PSATs so that you can improve on things that you might need to improve on. And the last thing that we wanted to go over with you guys today is the career exploration and how that's going to be kind of our theme for the year. So I know last year when I met with a lot of you guys, I'm sure Mrs. Sellenberger experienced this as well, a lot of you guys are still kind of unsure with what you want to do. I know a lot of you guys kind of already have a vague idea if you want to go to college or tech school, the military, or to work. But in terms of what you actually want to do, that's kind of what we're going to talk about this year. Mrs. Sellenberger, myself, and the new counselor are going to have some workshops every single month, or we're going to have a different theme and touch on different careers. And we're going to put the information out to you pretty soon about how these workshops are going to be held. You're going to be able to sign up for them and come. Our hope is to get them to all of you in some way or another. So just please be on the lookout for that. And then this month's theme is healthcare and nursing. So for anybody who wants to be a nurse or go into healthcare, please be on the lookout for that because we're going to share that information with you. With that said, we're going to hand it back to Mr. Remy. Thank you guys so much for listening to us for our very brief time. We'll be with you until you graduate. So back to Mr. Remy.
Thank you. Guys, like a year from now, like they'll be getting the biggest round of applause ever. They're gonna love them, and it's so hard right now. They're like, counselors are the ones who get all the cheers. So I appreciate it. They did a great job explaining everything up there. I appreciate Ms. Sellenberger trying to get you guys fired up a little bit. We're gonna get a little bit more into some of the activities and ways to get involved in a little bit. One of those things is pep rally. I've heard, I know we can get loud, right? We can get excited, and that's one of those things that we're going to talk about in a minute. I'm going to bring up Miss Morton here, who's going to talk a little bit about the social worker role in the center.
Hello, everybody. I am Miss Morton. I'm the social worker for the class of 2024. So I will be following you on out. I'll be a social worker next year and the year after that. My office is also located upstairs in the third floor center, and I can help you with lots of different things. Most of my job involves mental health, mental wellness. If you have questions or if you're interested in getting connected with a service outside of school, you can stop by my office or talk to your counselors to see if that's a good idea and something that you should pursue. And I can give you information, or I can help you to walk through the steps to get you enrolled. If you're already enrolled in some type of program, any type of program outside of school that involves visitors, and your visitors needs to come to the school to see you, you can tell them to reach out to me, email, phone, and I'll make sure that they're able to come in. If you just want to have a conversation about mental health, tips to maintain your mental health, and also check-ins. Maybe you're not interested in doing a formal mental health service, therapy, counseling, but you can just come and check in and talk about the things that are going on, and we can talk about things from there. To contact me, Schoology messages, emails, the instant message feature. Again, be patient. A lot of times I am in my office, but sometimes duties call me outside of my office, so I may not be able to respond instantly. Other than that, your parents and guardians can also call and email me if they have questions or would like information about services in the community. Again, I can help you to walk through the processes in enrolling in services, or I can just give you information as to guidance as to what is around here in the community. And lastly, in the school, we have SAP groups. So different student-led groups we'll have running throughout the year. You can talk to your counselor about maybe if you would like to join one or which one you may fit into. And that's it.
That's most of our supports in the center, okay? Miss Tracy, if you have a question, if you don't know who, hey, is that a counselor, social worker, Mr. Remy, who is that? Miss Tracy will guide you when you come in, okay? She's great. You come in, you ask her a question, she can get you the right information and get you in the right direction. So one of the things that I just want to hit on is come see us. Come to the center. Come make yourself known. Introduce yourself. Do those things so we get to know who you are, and then we're here to help you along the way, okay? High school, especially after not being here in such a long time, you guys haven't been here, is a challenge, and we want to be here to support you, okay? So come up to that center when you're in the hall in the morning. Just say hello. Hey, Mr. Remy. Hey, Miss Sullenberger. Hey, Miss Perez, Miss Morton. Just introduce yourself. We like to know who you are, and we're here because we love kids. So we want to talk to you. We're not trying to be annoying. We just want to get to know you. Okay. Briefly, I know you guys have probably seen this picture a million times over the past day and a half, I hope, right? But here's the outline of the schedule, and just couple things I just want to touch on is if you're not in one of our low incidence programs, you come to school at 9:45. That morning time, and the video, that voice on the video, that was me kind of explaining what that morning time was. That's where you have the option to be able to complete your work that's assigned for asynchronous work, or if you've already done it, there's no time frame that you have to check in. You do not have to check in from 7:30 to 8:54. If you want to, you can, but otherwise that time is yours. But we really encourage you, if you are struggling, to reach out to your teacher and get to that support time, okay? School begins at 9:45 a.m., okay? Does that mean you get here at 9:45? No. Class, the bell rings at 9:45, okay? So the doors are going to be open earlier, but you can get here, and you should be sitting in your first block class when that bell rings at 9:45 a.m. If you're late during first block, just go to first block, and your teacher's going to mark you late, okay? If you're late after that, they're going to stop you at the main desk and ask you to check in at the main office, okay? You're going to go throughout your schedule tomorrow, guys. Today and yesterday, you went to block 1 only and then back to homeroom. Homerooms are going to be a thing that we don't really do much. I think the next time in my head that I'm thinking about homerooms is when we start to work on the PSAT pre-registration information, which is in like October. So homerooms, I know some of you are like, oh, this homeroom, like, can I get a different one? And things like, we're not going to use them that much. You're going to be going to block 1 every other day from here on out. That flex time, I'm going to put up some information where the lunches are in a minute, and then you go through block 3 and block 4, and then you get out of here. When you're going outside for your buses, any of you that haven't been here yet, it's a lot different than it was. There's so many buses out there. So really try to do your best to if you're a bus rider, get out there as quickly as you can, because there's so many buses and it's hard to find them sometimes, okay? All right, so your lunch stations, this is what they look like. This is where you can go grab your lunches. You're going to do this from your transition from period 2 to your flex, all right? And what that means is, like, we're hoping that it's like a grab and go. You just, if I was walking by and picking up my lunch, I'd pick up this and keep going and keep on walking through, and then keep going to my flex and eat it during that time. If you want to bring your own lunch, you're welcome to bring your own lunch during that time as well, okay? You do not have to eat that lunch, okay? The locations, all right? The locations are here. I'll put them up on Schoology as well, just in case you wanted to see them, but odds are you're going to be able to see them when you're walking through the hall. Today, as we get through it, one of the key things is you're going to go, but you get it, and then you go back to your homeroom today, and just go right back to homeroom after you get it. All right, most of us, we should all be going to the 3rd floor in a few minutes to grab our lunches and go back to our homerooms, okay? You might not be on the 3rd floor for the rest of the year. Your second block and your flex might be on the 2nd floor, so you would just grab it from one of these locations. They're pretty similar on each floor, though, okay? This is one of those things that's new, and it's going to be a challenge, so we ask that you work with us and work together, and we're willing to make adjustments and do what we need to do to make sure everybody gets fed, okay? All right, homerooms and lockers, right? So your ID pictures, hopefully you had yesterday. There's going to be makeups in October. They'll send out information in regards to that. If you would like a locker, we used to force everybody to take a locker, but now we're just doing it available upon request. So if you go to that Class of 2024 Schoology page, there's a link that you can just put your information in. Miss Tracy will get back to you with the information, give you where the locker is, what the combination is, and things like that. Give her a few days over these first couple days to get it, but you do not need to have a locker. If you would like a locker, you can get one. That will be available up there all year. So if you decided in November for some reason that you'd like one, send that link, all right? One thing, if anybody went to the football game on Friday, right? IDs are required to get into the football game. You're not going to have one for this week, so they're going to ask you to pull up your live schedule on the Home Access Center on your phone, okay? Because you're not going to have your ID by Friday. They're going to be required to get into any, like basketball games, football games, I think wrestling matches, any dances, homecoming, any big events that the school hosts that we sell tickets for, you're going to need your ID, okay? So when you get that ID, make sure you keep it in a safe place, okay? We need to know who's coming into our games and make sure that you guys are students here, okay? One of the first things we're going to talk about is the Harvest Dance, right, which is coming up on October 23rd. You're going to need your ID for that, as well as homecoming. I don't know if anybody's ever seen homecoming here. It's like the biggest dance competition that you can see. This stage is filled with teachers, administrators, counselors, center staff, students, all doing choreographed dances to different themes each year. Okay, and then it's a competition between the grade levels. Okay, so a couple years ago when we had the seniors, it was cities and we had Philadelphia. So we pulled in some like Boys to Men, some Meek Mill, I think we did. There's all sorts of cool stuff, and we were all up here dancing along. It was cool. Somebody else had New York, so they did a whole bunch of like Jay-Z songs, and it was a cool time. We want you to get involved in that. There is practices involved, but when you see the show that goes on up here, it really makes you proud to see what we're able to pull off. All right? With that, get involved, guys. There's clubs, after-school opportunities. If you want to make something, you can. There's so many people here, and there's going to be somebody else that likes what you like. So we can get a club together if you can find a teacher to help you do that. Check Schoolsy for notifications about it. Miss Paldino, I call the Schoolsy lady that everybody calls her. She puts out the dates and the times of when they're going. And later on, we'll put out the whole list of clubs that you can kind of look through. We'll put that out on the Schoolsy page. Our arts and our music are amazing, as many of you start to know. We have classroom officers, okay? We have class officers or classroom reps, and that's going to be 35 students that Mr. Nielsen is going to be sending some information out. He's our activities director, but he has a 12th grade homeroom, so he couldn't be here. He'll send some information. That's getting involved in the student government. You guys would help us plan dances, make informed decisions for our class on things that we're going to be doing. Our officers are already selected, so you guys voted on them last school year, and that will happen at the end of this year, okay? But take a risk, guys. Like I said, make the most of your time. You only get this opportunity for 4 years, really now for 3 more years. So take the most of your opportunities here, because you can really get a lot out of Upper Darby, a lot out of high school. So make the most of these opportunities that you have, and I'm going to go back to that time feature there. Okay? Last thing is Miss Camiso is our athletic director. If you would like to get involved in athletics, because I'm trying to get you out of here for flex, I apologize, I'm rushing. Okay? All that information is on the athletics webpage for what sports we have, what you're going to need. One thing you're going to need is a physical and communication about all that. So come to our Class of 2024 Schoolsy page and post information about the athletics. But you want to make sure that you have your physical done, and they take sometimes months to get an appointment, and that's why I'm telling you that now. If you want to play something in the winter, make sure you have that physical. If you have questions, her office is located right outside the gym. You can see her down there. And one thing to keep in mind is that grades and the royal points that we were talking about before, they factor into that. Okay, so you need to keep your grades up and have good royal points in order to participate in those athletics. So, guys, I know the last 2 years, and we know the last 2 years have been a challenge. Remember, we're here to support you. That's what our job is. We're here to help you in any way that we can. So use us as the support. You think June 2024 is a long, long way away. You're going to blink, and it's going to be next August, and we'll be doing this same thing next year. So take advantage of the time. It's so nice to see everybody, okay? Let's start tomorrow off on a good foot with all of our courses. Like Ms. Sullenberger said, if you end up having a hole in there, come to the center. If you have a hole in a block 1 class, some block 2 or semester 1 class, some of the other things are still going to be getting figured out, okay? I'm going to kind of try to dismiss by sections here to get you guys back so it's not just a logjam. So if this section wants to get going, you can grab your flex, your lunch on the way up. Grab your lunch and go to homeroom.